Okay, so welcome everyone. Thank you for coming to the Brand Power Hour. My name is Mallika Malhotra, and I'm the brand CEO. If we haven't met yet, I am a brand strategist and niche expert, and I work with female entrepreneurs who are really trying to become the go-to standout brand in their industry. And I have been hosting monthly brand power hours where I invite guests or I do the training myself. And today we have Stephanie here, who's our guest expert. We're going to be talking about networking, but let me tell you a bit about Stephanie first before we get started. So she is a professional singer turned voice presentation and networking coach. She has addressed international audiences, large sales teams, women's groups, and business groups of all sizes about how they can leverage their voice to improve communication, build their business, and fulfill their dreams. She uses her background singing on stages around the country and the world to create memorable presentations that include original music. She speaks and trains on networking, communication, sales topics, combining her skills of singing and over 20 years of coaching clients. I love that niche of the singing with the coaching, that merger. That's awesome. And so today we are going to be talking about how to build empowered partners that can help skyrocket your visibility and income. So, many of you are here today for a networking opportunity. I know many of you do networking on your own, but sometimes it can feel challenging. Sometimes it can feel overwhelming. Like you go into these groups, you talk to a lot of people, but there's no strategy, there's no follow-up. You don't know how to build that connection. And so I know today we're going to learn a little bit more about how to optimize these opportunities so it's more intentional. So hi, Claire, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. So there will be an opportunity in the presentation. Stephanie's going to help us do a little bit of our own introductions, but that's going to happen within the presentation. So I'm going to pass the mic on to her. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm excited to hear what you have to share today.
Yay, I'm so glad to be here. Thanks for having me. I'm so excited about this presentation because it's my absolute favorite topic aside from singing. And so we will definitely network together today using a formula that I share with my community to help them be focused and actually create better results. And I will also share there's a gift that I sent to Mallika. She's going to email it to everybody after this presentation, but basically it is a list of ways that you can work with someone that is really aligned, that feels like a good connection when you're networking. So it's an idea generator and it helps you have a strategy in place so that you can maximize your networking time with other people. So that's my gift to you. And I'm also going to give a gift to come visit my networking group. So if you'd like a free ticket to come visit my group, I'll give you the link for that at the end. But yeah, thanks for having me, and let's just get this party started. I do have a PowerPoint, so let me know if you can see this. Are we good?
Yep, we are good.
Okay, cool. I just want to move so I can see the chat as well during the presentation. So how to build empowered partners to skyrocket your visibility and income. This is the gift that you're going to receive via email later today. So I work with very specific strategies. So we have 5 strategies within my community that we use to engage with complementary service providers who we really love and want to cheerlead and work together with. So these are some idea generators for you, and also give you some of the highlights of today's presentation so that you can actually see what we're going to have something as a follow-up document from what we're going to talk about today. So I would love to know, based on these are a list of challenges I hear all the time when people are networking. So I would love to know from you, if you could type in the chat for me, which one of these resonates the most with you, where you meet great people, but it doesn't translate into more clients. You struggle creating a call to action that actually works for you. Follow-up calls become sales pitches, or you feel like you just give more than you receive in your networking efforts. So which one feels the strongest for you? I would love to hear. Mallika says 1 in 4, great people, and you give more than you receive. I hear that all the time. Christy says 1. Yeah, that is actually the number 1. Jill says 1 in 4. And the others may still be happening, but they're maybe happening a little less. 1 and 3. 1 when it's related to job hunting. Okay. Yeah, so these are very typical pain points for people, and I have been facilitating networking events now for a decade. in person and virtual. And when I launched my own networking organization after having worked for other networking groups, other networking companies, I asked myself, how would I make things different if I was in charge and didn't have to follow the rules of the networking organization that hired me to be their managing director?
Mhm.
So that's how I came up with Empowered Business Networking. And really the intention behind it is like, what if your introductions always led to an ideal connection? And you could reduce the number of hours in the places that you're networking while receiving more clients. And you were excited to network because it was always fun and profitable. I mean, even I, who love networking as a general rule, sometimes would avoid networking because I was like, I don't know if today is the day for me to expend this kind of energy. I don't know if, I'm going to get the results I'm really looking for. So I would be really, I'm an extrovert too. So I have no problem doing a lot of networking, but even I sometimes hesitated when I wasn't sure how it was going to be facilitated or if there were going to be the right people in the room, things like that. So that is the power to create that result you really love, where it's always fun and profitable. You're always enjoying it. You're looking forward to it. You're maximizing your time with it. We focus on the solution being the empowered partnerships. And I'm going to tell you what empowered partners are, and then we're going to talk about how to create them together. But I want to give you a little background about me before we jump into the content. So this is a picture of me, a Mother's Day concert in first grade. And this is my first public performance. And I have always been a singer. I've been singing from my earliest memories are of me singing as a toddler in the backseat of my parents' car as I was being driven around. And this public performance, I came across this photo recently and I was like, I can't believe I've got the picture of my very first stage performance. But this started it all, and this is what led to me being a professional singer and stage actress. I moved to New York City after graduate school. I have my master's in vocal performance, a minor in speech pathology. I actually went to Europe and trained with an opera training program with Oberlin School of Music in Italy. Then I moved to New York City and I sang in operas, musicals, cabaret, dinner theater. I was doing all the cool things, living the dream in my 20s. And then I ended up meeting my husband on Match.com and moving to Maryland. So however, it didn't stop my singing career. I still did a lot of singing. I was singing in musicals around the DC metropolitan area while building my voice studio. So I was a singing teacher. I was helping teenagers and adults how to sing, how to audition for their local community theater productions, how to have confidence, how to sing just for fun. I used to run group adult singing classes in my basement where most of the singers in the room, they just wanted to sing for fun. And we had a wonderful time using our voice powerfully to create joy in our lives. And then I had a friend take me to my very first business networking event. Now, here I am. This is eWomen Network. I'm actually in this picture, the managing director of the Maryland chapter, because what happened on the day that my friend took me to an eWomen Network event was I loved it so much that I ended up joining, going to the conference, and then I became the managing director of my chapter. And I ran that chapter for 3 years. And you can see Sandra Yancey is to my right sitting there. She's the founder of eWomen Network. And I really used that experience to learn how to facilitate networking. My experience as a stage performer, I translated almost immediately into skills for business owners. Like, how can you show up at a networking event and make a great first impression? How can you describe what you do so clearly and so easily that people want to get to know you? They want to raise their hand and say, "Tell me more. Let's have a coffee. I'm so interested in what you're doing." And I ran these large in-person events at this country club for 3 years. And then I left as the managing director, still am a platinum member to this day. And I ran another group that was more industry specific. So if you've ever been a member of BNI, for example, where you have one of every industry, and I ran a chapter of this particular group for a couple of years. And then my business coach and I had a VIP day together, and she said, "Stephanie, you're so great at networking. Why aren't you monetizing this for yourself?" And I said, "Oh, that's a great idea." And we came up with this idea to do a virtual networking group where, because I had connections all over the US and Canada and beyond. I didn't want to limit myself just to my local community. And we launched it in January of 2020. And as you all know, the pandemic hit in March of 2020. This is a quick picture here too. Side note, sidebar. I also wrote my own one-woman show called Stage Dreams, has 9 original songs. And now I will bring in my singing and my music to my keynote presentations. When I speak about networking, for example, I love to sing this song called 16 Bars to Broadway, because networking is a little bit like auditioning for a Broadway show. You have seconds to make a good first impression. You have to prepare to have a really great audition. You have to have intention behind it. You have to show up with a song that makes you shine, just like you have to have a great message that really makes your business shine. And so I will sing about auditioning sometimes when I'm doing my keynotes. And here is just a snapshot of one of my virtual meetings. We attract creative entrepreneurs from all over the US, Canada, and beyond. They tend to fall into coaches, marketing professionals, and then what I like to call complementary service providers. So these are like your CPA, your bookkeeper, your virtual assistant, software that you need, those types of things. And I just love my community. They are so super fun. We're creatives. We're always thinking outside the box. And that's what makes being empowered partners together really, really fun and also lucrative. My method for networking that I have developed over my decade of facilitation is called my voice networking method. And so that stands for be visible. Of course, you have to be visible in your networking efforts. Otherwise, no one knows who you are. And we concentrate our networking efforts on visibility strategies. So how can we cross promote each other to create visibility? How can we be speaking partners together to create visibility? There's so many different ways to increase how you're showing up in the world through networking conversations. Getting organized. This is all about setting up your schedule so that you're prioritizing networking in your marketing strategy. You're not putting it on a back burner. I actually treat my networking like a client. My networking is at the level of a client. I would never cancel a client call unless there was an emergency. I don't cancel my networking unless there's an emergency, because I know it's a revenue generating activity. I is be intentional. I see a lot of people who show up at networking spaces throwing spaghetti on the walls, or they say the same exact thing every time they go to networking events, and it's not particularly compelling. It's a little too general. When you're intentional, when you have a very specific intention, not just on what you want to create, but how you want to feel and how you want other people to feel when they hear the sound of your voice, when they interact with you in whatever that way that looks like, in person or virtual, then you're going to show up differently and you're going to create a different result. So I always ask myself 3 quick questions when I am focused on the intention for a networking event. The first is, how do I want to feel today as I'm networking? So we could do this right now. If you had to choose one word, how do you want to feel today as you are on this call? And as you introduce yourself later on, which we are going to do. So how do you want to feel in one word? Type it in the chat box. Let's just hear what some of your words are. Energized. Love it. Confident. And there's no wrong answer. Inspired. Inspired. Legitimate. Inspired. Ooh, we got a lot of inspired words today. I like it. We can share each other's words. Excited. Fantastic. The second question I ask is, what's the one outcome I'd like to achieve from this networking event? So that outcome can be all kinds of things. It can be one follow-up phone call. It can be a registration to an opt-in that you want to offer people. It can be, that you're inspired by an idea towards something you're trying to build in your business. There's no wrong answer, but what I always encourage is that you have one thing, one clear thing. And sometimes I will even put it on a sticky note and stick it, especially if it's a virtual networking event. I'll take that sticky note and stick it on my monitor so that I am saying to myself, I want to create this result today for myself. So let's remind myself what that is so I don't get off track and I don't, go for shiny objects in the moment, but I am focused on who it is. So thank you for jumping in and already adding your intention for yourself in the chat. One new connection. I like it. Gain confidence. follow-up call. Those are great. Those are great ideas, great intentions. And then the third question I ask myself is, in one word again, how do I want other people to feel when they interact with me? Which is a slightly different take on how do I want to feel? Well, how do I want others people to feel? Do I want them to feel the same? Do I want them to feel different? Sometimes I like to choose words like interested, like they're interested in learning more. Pick a word. How do you want other people to feel when they hear you introduce yourself later on this call? In one word, how do you want them to feel as they hear the sound of your voice coming through your microphone? Curious. Yes, that's a great word. Piqued. Curious to learn more. Hopeful. Ooh, I like that. So you get the idea here that even just that very, very quick, intentional um, activity can shift how you're showing up and what you decide to say about yourself when you introduce yourself. So think about the words you just shared and the intentions that you just shared. And when you introduce yourself later, is your introduction in alignment with your intention? So just ask yourself that for now. So that may change what you want to say as you introduce yourself later. C is be consistent. So this is, of course, being consistent about where you're going to network. A lot of people kind of spray and play, like they go everywhere. And more is not always better. So if you can narrow down the places that you are consistently showing up, some home-based networking events, and you're consistent about showing up, you're consistent about taking certain actions as a result of that group that you are a part of, you're going to have much better results. And then finally, E, which is build empowered partners. And that's what we're going to learn more about today, because that's really the secret sauce that I have inside my own community. So what is an empowered partner? And yes, I see. Do you think you should do both virtual and yes, absolutely. Do them both. You don't have to, of course, but if it brings you joy, I definitely do more virtual networking than I do in person anymore. And that's because it's just easier. And I can meet a lot of people quickly in a virtual environment. And I miss in-person networking. So I will be very selective about where I do that, but I'll pick some good ones. And that also can really be energizing for me. So empowered partners, they're like networking partners, but there are a couple differences. So the basic definition of an empowered partner is they have a complementary service to you. So the first question is, do you know what your complementary services are? Because those are the products that your clients also buy besides yours, the products and services. So are you aware even of what your clients are purchasing besides what they buy from you? Because once you understand what that is, then you know who your potential empowered partners are. They're going to have a similar ideal client to you, so a similar audience to you. And they want to be your cheerleader. And this is key because this is about networking. When you're networking and you're being consistent and you're being intentional and you're being visible, then you put out the energy that creates the know, like, and trust with people. And then people will say, yeah, I know a million life coaches, but this particular life coach I really love because she has built know, like, and trust with me. I understand what she does. I have spent enough time building that relationship. So she's the complementary service provider that I'd like to have a conversation with. And then the last piece here is that you empower each other to easily take action. And this is where I see things fall through the crack time and time again in other networking spaces, is that, yeah, I can identify a complementary service provider that I even love. I love their energy. We hit it off. But then we struggle to actually strategically work together to generate visibility because we don't have a clear plan in place. We don't have a process down. We're not thinking about how can I make it easy for this person to promote me? Because the minute we all are so super busy, we all have our own businesses to contend with. The minute we have to market someone else's business, ugh, that can feel really tough. So how are you empowering that other person to make it so simple and even beyond simple sometimes? Like I was just interviewed on a podcast a couple days ago where her process was so tight. She gave me copy, social media posts, graphics, and snippets of the video that we had created together, like reels, formatted for Instagram. She gave me everything so that I could repurpose that content that we had created together on that podcast and actually fill my marketing schedule for the next couple weeks with little snippets here and there of what we had done that actually provide value, that cross promote both of us. But I didn't have to make any of it. She wrote it for me. I tweaked a couple things, just to make it my own voice, but it was so easy to say, oh, yeah, well, I can promote this podcast at least 4 more times because of what she did to make it easy for me. Right. And that's really what is the difference between a networking partner and an empowered partner. So I'm going to talk about before networking, during networking, and after networking. How does the empowered partnership sort of fit in? And then we'll go a little bit deeper into the steps to build your empowered partner. So before networking, we've already done this. We're setting clear intentions. Okay. Then you're defining your empowered partners. So you have to know what are the complementary service providers. And is there anything else you want in that partnership? Do you want someone who's spiritual? Do you want someone who, is fun? What are their values? What's going to make you say, yeah, you're the one for me? But have clarity about that because you can't identify them in a networking space unless you are clear ahead of time. And then what we do in my community, and I know this doesn't happen in everywhere you go, is that we actually have you fill out a preparation form that captures all of your contact information and also helps you prepare for the event because it gets you thinking about who are my referral partners, what's my ideal client, what is my ask this month, what is it I'm really looking to create, and how can people help me? And we have them actually fill that form out in detail because we provide that list to everyone after the event so that you don't have to save the chat and you don't have to dig through the Zoom chat and try to figure out which ones you want to connect with. We actually give you an Excel spreadsheet, so it's really easy to follow up. But that form serves 2 purposes. One is the preparation routine. So what's your preparation routine in getting clear about connecting how you're going to introduce yourself to the intention that you've already set? Then while you're networking, do you have a captivating networking introduction? And when I say captivating, it helps you stand out from other people who might have similar services to you. And then combined with a call to action that is fun and profitable. And when I say fun and profitable, I don't necessarily mean that you're selling in the room, but your call to action is so clear and captivating that people opt in for it and they want to help you. They're either taking advantage of your free opt-in, they are reaching out and saying, I know somebody you should know. I would really like to, get on a networking call with you. There's a response. I remember when I was doing a lot of in-person networking, I had such a clear and captivating introduction. What I did in person, I would actually say, for the first 5 people to hand me their business card, we're going to do this, XYZ. And I would, every single time, I would have people, like when you're standing in that room in person and everybody lines up kind of in a circle and you go around and you introduce yourself, right? I would have everyone rush to me with their business card out and hand me their card. And it was always more than 5. I would say 3 or 5, depending on the size of the group. And I would always have like 7 or 10 people come up to me and hand me their business card. So are you experiencing that in the virtual environment? I have a different way of doing it. I have people type a word in the chat. It works really, really well. So it's not even click on a link or anything. It's just like type a word in the chat. So when I do that though, I'm always able to then do my follow-up with the people who have opted in. So you don't even have to guess about who to follow up. They already said, yes, they want to follow up with you, right? And then it's about identifying those potential empowered partners in the room. So do you get into a breakout room where you just intuitively know, oh, this person is in alignment. Like, I can't wait to get on a call with this person. I'm going to absolutely send them a private message, invite them on my calendar. But because you're so clear beforehand, you did the work beforehand with your intentions, with your clear goal that you have for yourself, that you can see them when they show up. There's like a bright light around them. They're like, oh, yes, that's the one. That's the person. Because sometimes we end up with too many follow-up calls. You know, we have too many one-on-one conversations that don't lead anywhere. And so this is one of the ways that you can sort of narrow it down. So Mallika, I see your hands up. I'll go ahead and take a question.
Thank you. So I love this idea of almost like that urgency of for the first 5 people, if you type the word, I would say niche in the chat, then I will do something. Is this meant for partners or could it also be applied for leads in terms of
Both. It depends on the room you're in. And this is really, really key. So I would network in places where my ideal client was in the room. And then I would have a lead call to action. But if I was networking in a space where I knew a lot of my partners were in the room, then I would have a partner call to action. And
okay,
what's really great, and so this is just because I'm also one of my strengths is making really, really great introductions, is that I can make an offer to give you one really fantastic referral or connection and have that be my opt-in. Get on a call with me. I will make one really great introduction for you because I can do it every single time without fail. So because I know that about myself, I can make that kind of an offer in a networking space and get a really, really great reaction.
love that. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And then after networking, which is actually almost honestly more important than the networking event itself. Like, even if you didn't feel like your captivating introduction was all that captivating, right? Even if you even weren't sure what you wanted to get out of that networking event, you can still maximize the time that you already spent through your follow-up efforts. If you actually have follow-up efforts, which I know a lot of people don't necessarily have a clear, structured follow-up plan. They sort of randomly follow up based on how they felt, right? Which is okay, but it's not going to get you consistent results. So, number one, schedule time for follow-up when you book your networking event. In fact, I have gotten to the point where I do not attend a networking event, even if I think it's going to be awesome, even if I know my ideal client is there, even if I know my ideal referral partners are there, even if I am positive I could get some great leads, if I don't have time to follow up within 24 hours. Because what I know to be true is even if you wait a few more days after that event, people forget. They forget you. They, they've already moved on. They already have their list going. So make sure that you've got the time in your calendar to do the follow-up. And then review the attendee list, or in some cases, it's going to be the chat, right? So you're saving the chat at a networking event during that follow-up block. And we actually book a bonus follow-up hour the day after my networking events. I actually do a group follow-up, get it done call where people can come live with me for an hour the next day. And I will pull up the Excel spreadsheet that I've sent everyone that has we'll have 50 or 60 people in it at a networking event, right? And we'll pull up the list and I'll actually help walk them through the highlight steps of how to use that form to follow up. So what I focus on first is I will scan to see who their ideal client is. So that's one of the fields we fill out because then I know who my ideal referral partners are by looking at their ideal client. And then I actually have another field that talks about the services they provide. So I will scan those two columns and I'll say, oh, yep, these are complementary services and their ideal client is similar to mine. These are my top people. So I'm narrowing the list down and I'm not trying to follow up with everybody because that's just not realistic and we don't have time for that. So who are the people that I really, really want to reach out to? The other piece that I add in our list is I will ask if they have a stage. Do they have a podcast? Do they have an event coming up? Are they looking for speakers? And then they will also fill out what their speaking topics are. So I look for two things. I look for stages because I'm always looking to speak. And I also look for complementary topics to my topics because I know if someone else is a speaker like me and they have a complementary topic to me, that we could be great referral partners for speaking engagements. So I will reach out to those people specifically to say, hey, could we talk about, what we each are speaking about? Maybe we can send each other some speaking referrals. Would you be interested in that? And that can lead to all kinds of things, but that's really focusing on that speaking strategy that I referenced inside of our community. And then once you've reviewed the chat, reviewed the attendance list, send your invitations, get it done within that follow-up time. Okay. So now here's the next step, because once you reach out to someone, they could potentially be an empowered partner because you've already done some of the work to vet whether this is a good connection or, a really high percentage chance that this could be an empowered partner. Okay. So once you invite them to a conversation, you want to hold an exploratory call. So we've already done step 1. Now we're into step 2. You're holding an exploratory call with them. And the exploratory call is meant to learn about them, a little bit better, and to explore potential strategies. So that document you're going to receive as my gift today, I actually encourage my members to have that in front of them when they hold an exploratory call. Because as they're getting to know this person and you're thinking about ways you could work together, you can use that list as an idea generator. You can also use that list to deposit relationship currency into their account. And this is really, really key. You can take very simple actions to give someone something. So everything from, let me check out your book on Amazon. Let me follow you on your social media accounts. Let me attend that free webinar you have next week because I just want to get to know you better. Not necessarily because I'm going to buy your stuff, but I want to use it as a way to get to know you better so that we can continue the conversation about whether we would be great empowered partners. So that list has all those ideas on there, and you can start with something small and work your way to something bigger if it goes well and if that person's responsive and they are reciprocating. So if you're ever feeling like I give more than I receive, which many of you said was one of your top challenges, you can use this as a testing ground to see if they are someone who reciprocates at the level that you like to give. And then you take it to the next level. And you make an agreement using a strategy. So you could say, I would love to do a cross promotion with you, Mallika. Let's talk about what kind of assets we can provide each other so that we could once a month either send an email about each other or make a post about each other or, some kind of visibility opportunity. Or I would love to engage in a speaking strategy with you, Mallika. Thank you so much for having me on your Power Hour. Let's find a way where you can be on my stage so we can reciprocate for each other. And then the next step is you have to follow through. And what's key for the follow through here is that you have a very specific system in place. You decide exactly what you're going to do, what the dates of the activities are that you're going to do, the assets that you need, what are the pieces so that you can follow through. Systems and structure is what's key in number 4. If you don't have those things in place, you probably won't follow through at the level that you could. That's going to produce more visibility. And then following up is about assessing how it went. So I can go back to Mallika and say, oh, here's what I loved about your group. This went really well. Here's maybe what we could do differently going forward. And then let's take this next step action. So you're assessing and you're having a follow-up conversation with that person to be able to do whatever comes next. Most people don't really assess what they're doing. They just continue to either take the same actions or they struggle. And so they try different things, but they're not consciously assessing what's working, what's not working as well. What have we learned as a result that we can do differently going forward as partners together? So that's a very high level overview of these steps, but you get the idea. I just want to talk briefly. I mentioned we have this cross promotion strategy. So this is all about boosting visibility using tools like your website, your email marketing, your social media content. There's the speaking strategy. So you're helping each other find more stages. By the way, everyone is a speaker. Even if you don't get paid to speak, even if you don't have a keynote or signature talk put together yet, you're still a speaker because every time you show up at networking events, you talk about yourself. Okay. So you're a speaker, lean into that, take advantage of it. And if you are looking to become better at speaking, focus on networking speaking first. So ask the networking places you hang out with, do you have opportunities to have feature presentations or, spotlights of any kind where I can practice using my voice, sharing about my business, sharing about my branding, my marketing message, what it is I'm creating in my business right now, because that's how I got started. I mean, I was a singer memorizing scripts, so I wasn't exactly sure how to be a speaker until I started speaking at networking events. And then we have the joint venture and affiliate strategy. So you can use networking to generate additional revenue through partnerships where you are saying, I want to refer your products out in the world and receive an affiliate commission. You can promote my products and I will give you an affiliate commission. There is nothing wrong with that. As long as you're transparent with your people that that's what's happening, it's a great way to build additional revenue. And then this is the last strategy. It's called the creative collaborative strategy. And so these are all the things that they're maybe a little more complicated. So they could be like a joint book. They could be a online summit. It could be a gift giveaway where you're building an email list with 10 other people. It could be product bundling where you've decided to sell your services together. So it's kind of outside the box. How can we create something, a solution that didn't exist until we met each other and we worked together? And because I attract so many creatives into my community, we love to just think outside the box and come up with creative projects. So let's introduce ourselves. So here is a formula that I teach my community. So if you want to write this down really quick, you want to have these prompts. I work with, and this is where you're going to describe your ideal client. Okay, so what is that ideal client description? Try to keep it to one sentence, okay? I work with, and then who struggles with, and these are your top couple of pain points that your people always say to you when they come to you looking to see whether you're going to be a good fit for them. What is that pain that's keeping them up at night? And they really desire, what's the vision that they have for their lives that your service actually helps create for them? And then the next sentence after this is a description of your empowered partner. So if you're in my community, you say my ideal empowered partner is, you could say my ideal referral partner is in other places that, aren't my space. But who is that ideal referral partner or empowered partner for you? Because if you're clear about that, this is what makes networking profitable and fun, is that you're not focused on my ideal client description, which is actually up here. Okay, we already heard like a snippet of your ideal client in this first sentence, but this is almost like, this is the call to action for a great introduction. My best referral partners are, because people can always send referral partners, much easier to do that than it is to send you a client. And it actually is a higher leveraged ask. Because when you get connected to your ideal referral partners, that can lead to many clients versus asking for a client introduction at networking when they don't even know you that well yet. That is really risky and very rare to receive an actual client referral. Okay. So be clear about who your empowered partner is. So here's just an example. So I work with creative entrepreneurs who are tired of meeting nice people at networking events that never lead anywhere, and they really want more visibility, speaking engagements, and clients. My ideal empowered partners are community builders, such as coaches with membership programs and networking leaders with communities of service-based entrepreneurs. So if you know of a community builder, that's a great ask for me. I would love an introduction to a community builder. But you see how you were probably able to think of someone for me versus my ideal client. Maybe you could think of my ideal client too. I don't know. But I'm just saying it's going to be easier, I think, to make an introduction when you're focusing on that empowered partner. And then I'm about to take this PowerPoint off, but I want to just mention that the next step after empowered partners is we actually build teams within our community of multiple complementary service providers so that we can also work on those creative collaborative projects, things like that. So it can get really exciting once you've identified a couple really good partnerships. And then this is my additional gift to you today is to grab a ticket. Now I'm actually going to use the chat version. So put ticket in the chat if you would like a free ticket to come visit, and then Mallika will send me your contact information, or you can go to ebnticket.com if you would like to opt in on my link. Happy to do that too. I just know it's easier for people to type ticket in the chat. You can do both. And then I'm happy to gift you a ticket, but let's go ahead and introduce ourselves, and then I can take questions and anything else you guys want to do. So
So,
Mallika, did you go ahead?
you want me to go? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, would you like to start us off?
Sure, why not? Why not? Okay, so I work with female entrepreneurs who are service-based subject matter experts, but they struggle with standing out in their marketplace and are often feeling like the invisible expert. What they desire is to be the brand that everyone remembers, that go-to expert, and the only and obvious choice in their industry. My ideal empowered partner is a business coach who has a membership or a mastermind community and is looking for a guest expert to speak about branding or niche strategy. I mean, I have a lot of empowered partners, but I'll just focus on that one.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's perfect. And I recommend you focus on one because it depends on where you are, right? You can always change it depending on if you're in a different space, right? So I love it. Okay, why don't we go to Christy? And then we'll have Katie, you're on deck.
Okay. I'm Christy Vanderlaan, Vanderlaan Creative Studio. I work with creative entrepreneurs who struggle to show up online with confidence and really desire to attract their ideal audience. I was just still kind of working it through, but I would add, I feel like most of my clients see themselves in one way because I do work with a lot of creatives and artists, but they have a hard time stepping back and actually showing up in the way that they see themselves. And so that's kind of where I focus on the visual aspect of branding. And my ideal partner would be, well, I have a couple, but I'll stick with the one, and it's more similar to Mallika's, I guess, where a coach who's working with someone who's really trying to grow and kind of fine tune their business and strategy.
Awesome. Thanks, Christy. Katie, you're up. And then Claire, you're on deck.
Mine's not a service base. I'm struggling a little, but we're just going to go with it. So my name is Katie Soul DeLorme, and I'm the owner and alchemist of Maine Soul Botanicals, a farm-to-home collection of herbal soaps and salves and serums. And I work with retail buyers and client and conscious consumers who are looking and struggle finding and understanding safe, reliable, as well as beautiful health and wellness, skin and wellness products. And my ideal partner is either retail operation or a boutique hotel who wants to offer that higher end luxury brand that's also a made in Maine product.
Ooh, I want to know more about this product. All right, Claire, you're up, and Allison, you're on deck.
Okay, so my situation is a little bit different. So I'm kind of struggling with this as well. I don't own my own business. I was a marketing person and I still am, did project management, account management. So I'm actually getting back into the job market after leaving my job. So some of this doesn't apply to me, but I'm here to listen and absorb and learn. So that's kind of my situation.
Yeah, no worries. And even if you work for a company and you're a representative of a company, you can still talk about the pain points of your company, right? The ideal client of your company. Because I have lots of business development people kind of come to networking events too, because they have budgets for networking. And so it's same concept applies. So just you can use it in the future, depending on where you end up and what you're creating.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then also I would say to Katie too, I know it was a product based, but product based, they still have pain points, right? Like
so many.
Yeah, like you could be like you work with the over 40 women who maybe their skin isn't feeling, like it used to, or, like you can probably come up with some more specific things that your clients are saying as to why they buy the products you have. So, you're on the right track though. It's a great start. So
Then-
Allison,
I'm sorry, can I just add, just for you, Claire, I think it could be like how the job that you do want, right? So
yeah.
like, I work with small marketing firms, let's say that's what you want,
Mhm.
who struggle with increasing sales. I'm just making this up, and who
Yeah.
really desire growth in the next 6 months. And then you're positioning yourself as that person that can help them get there. So
Okay.
it could be some, work the statement so that it positions you as the next best candidate for whoever you
Right.
work with. So maybe
Yeah,
that.
that's smart. Thank you for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Allison, you're up, and then Krista, you're on deck.
I have a couple businesses. One is a food-based dessert, vegan, gluten-free, but I'm gonna have a fitness business that I need to practice a lot more with. So here goes. I'm a fitness coach who works one-on-one with individuals 60 and over who struggle with balance and keeping up with the activities that they've always enjoyed, and who really desires to improve and preserve their vitality and mental sharpness. My ideal empowered partner is someone who supports and empowers seniors who are proactive in living their best lives. It's kind of vague.
Yeah, it could be, Allison, it could be health coaches. It could be personal trainers. It could be even health products, even people who are selling health products could be a great compliment. I know someone who's a self-defense person,
Oh yeah.
just self-defense, right? Those all could be great complementary service providers. And honestly, even people who do the same thing you do can be great referral partners. So even like there's no competition, honestly. There's always going to be like your ideal client is maybe slightly different than someone else's, or they don't have capacity, or you do, or whatever. So, and you can ask for introductions to other people who do similar types of things to you.
And I also think, Allison, and I'm going to make this introduction. We have a good friend named Linda, who is an aging in place expert.
Mm-hmm.
Helps people. She actually does fixes your home so that you could stay in your home. Makes the modifications. And so those people want to stay in your home might also, I don't know if you're doing it virtually or
Yes.
if it's in person, but let's say it was virtual, that might be a good partnership, because then you could coach those people that she's actually helping them stay in their home since they're aging.
Right. And that's exactly what the goal of my business is, to help people stay at home. And,
Yeah, I'll make that connection. Even if it's not someone, if you're working more local, she might know where to direct you to find people like her in Maine. So,
all right. Thank you.
sure.
So Krista, you're up, and then is it Chitra? You're on deck.
Hello, my name is Krista Gagne. I own Maine Homestead. I work with specialty food retailers and independent grocers to promote our Maine-made specialty food line that focuses on pickles, jams, jellies, and relish. My ideal connection would be other businesses emphasizing the Maine brand, and retailers or gift sort of list people. I'm trying to get on some of like the Maine made gift lists. So people who promote those things, so we can grow our direct to consumer through some of those channels.
Question, Krista, can you ship anywhere? So like if a coach in California wanted to gift your jams and jellies, they could totally connect with you?
Yep.
Okay, awesome. So I would just be clear that you can work with anyone anywhere when you introduce yourself, just so that you know it's not just an in-person situation, but it's like a virtual situation too.
Yeah, this is my first try at sort of leaning into the Maine branding bit. So you got my first draft.
Yeah, I love it. That's perfect. It's a great start. And I would also say like coaches are great clients for you and great referral partners for you, because coaches like to give gifts to their clients, and they may have retreats that they're doing. And so unique gifts and things that they can provide to their conference attendees and things like that you know, if you're hanging out with a lot of business owners, that's a great way to, you know, start to get the word out.
And if I can add, we have 3 main product owners in this room. There's an opportunity to bundle and create a collaboration or something and be empowered partners for each other.
Yes, you could do gift baskets. How fun would that be? Which is so cool. I want to know about it when you create it. I'm coming to Maine in June, so. All right, Chitra, last but not least.
Hi. Oh my God, this is so awesome. It's getting all my creative juices flowing. So thank you for doing this, Mallika and Stephanie. You've been great. Okay, I wrote it down, so I'm going to read a little bit. I work with women on their way to leadership who find themselves on the hamster wheel, unable to get off and find fulfillment and alignment despite their success. I introduce them to their most underutilized superpower, their intuition, through using my PFH formula, my peel, feel, heal formula, in my interactive workshops. My ideal referral partner would be anyone who has access to a community that wants to tap into their innate wisdom in a clear, practical, simple, not easy, but simple way.
Awesome. Are you looking for speaking engagements? Is that what you're looking for, people with communities, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just getting into the professional speaking world and just booked my first keynote. So yeah.
Yay. So you might want to say my ideal referral partners are people with communities who want, and then list the topic you talk about.
Okay.
Because your topic can have a captivating title, right? Like how to build empowered partners who skyrocket your visibility and income is like a captivating title, right? So find whatever that is for what you do, because that alone could sell you to someone to say, I want to just learn more because I might want to have you come speak to my group.
Oh, great. Yeah. So I do have a popular topic that is hurry up inner peace. I don't have all day.
Oh, I like it. I don't have all day.
Yeah. Thank you.
Fantastic. Put that in your introduction then.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, Mallika, I think this was a great way to network in a small group setting. So thank you so much for having me. And I'm open to any other questions or whatever else you want to do in the last couple minutes.
Yeah. Does anyone have any questions for Stephanie? We have just about 6 minutes left, but I'm so glad we had the opportunity to do our elevator pitches. Yes, go ahead, Chitra. Oh, you're on mute.
Yeah, I have a quick question. So I have been doing, or I'm going to start doing some Instagram lives. I used to do them a lot before, but like Instagram live collaborations with other, referable partners, I guess, or whatever that word was. But do you have any tips on how to maximize using Instagram lives as a way to capture their audience?
Well, it's always a great idea to have some kind of an interview series on social media, I personally believe. And so you can repurpose those on all the platforms. So you could have snippets, even if it's just 10, 15 seconds of an interview you did, and you put it on Instagram, you put it on YouTube, you put it, all the places where your client hangs out. Right. So wherever your people are going to see you the most. But I find that, a lot of people can get a little overwhelmed when they think about starting a podcast. But if you're just willing to ask some great questions live on social media, that is a version of a podcast that doesn't require a lot of pre-setup or even effort. And then you can just find somebody, a virtual assistant or somebody to help you with editing if you need it, to create and format those that content for you. But that's a great cross-promotion strategy.
Yeah, actually, Chitra, I've been hearing a lot about this idea of going away from the podcast because it is very labor intensive and doing it on Instagram, which is free. But what I would do is really treat it almost like it's a program or a product of yours, instead of just, I'm just coming on, Tuesday, Thursday, like there is a set time, there's a set structure, it's branded, this is your product. And then you're sharing it not only, like Stephanie said, on YouTube, but there's like a campaign around it in email that drives people to put it on their calendar, that has them watch the replay. So making, and what we're learning today, an intentional effort, just like networking should be intentional, that should also be intentional. And I think you'll get the most out of it.
So I have a quick question, if anyone knows, and we can talk about this later, but when you do an Instagram live, I still don't know how to save those lives. So is it better to then go from another platform like Zoom and then go on to all of these other avenues?
Does it not get saved on your feed, or it does, but you don't know how to download it?
Yeah, I don't know how to download it. I don't know if there is a way, or if anyone knows, we can talk.
Yeah, I don't know, but I can ask my the Brit who knows everything. So
Thank you.
yeah.
There are platforms out there you can use for going live that stream to multiple places at the same time. So I know I use one called Be Live, and then there's Restream, and there's a couple others. So sometimes that's a good tool if you want to make it a little easier to just go live multiple places, and then you can download. That platform will usually save a copy of what you did so that you can use that for easy editing.
Okay, I'll check it out. Thank you.
Any other questions about empowered partners, networking? So I have one quick question for you, Stephanie. So when you meet someone and you go through the call, the discovery call, and you get to the stage of like that strategic plan, what is your best advice? Sometimes I've been in a sticky situation where it is not a good idea for me, but it's a better idea for the other person, and I want to back out of the partnership because it doesn't seem, it might be too much work or too much energy, or it's not the right fit, or again, it's more heavy loaded on one end. What is a courteous way to kind of say, no, thank you?
Yeah, so I always have in my back pocket I'm going to make a great introduction for you. I have this person in mind for you. And, I think that's a great place for us to start, right? So that you don't have to not give anything at all, but you can at least offer your great connecting services to say, I know someone who should know you, and have that be the thing that you end the call with. Like, I'm so glad we had this call. I'm so glad I got to know you better. And it doesn't have to be an introduction. It could also be, hey, I'm going to check out your book on Amazon, or, I'm going to keep my eye out for you this month, and I'll make sure I like and comment your posts for the next month, just to, continue to get to know you better and to see what it is you're putting out in the world. And I'm happy to do that, and maybe I'll share one of your posts on my feed. Like you can make very, very simple gestures as a, still as a give that's not going to be too hard. And then you just allow, I always just like to use the phrase, let's just continue the conversation and see where it heads, because maybe it's not the best fit for now, but maybe it will be later.
Right.
And I think that's an authentic thing to say.
No, that's great. That's a good way to think about it. Awesome. All right, ladies, thank you so much for being here. This is going to be the last Brand Power Hour for a little bit. I'm going to take a break over the summer, but I think I'm going to be coming back in August for a session that I will be leading, which will be some kind of branding training, but also networking. So we all learned how to do it. So it's going to be a little bit of a combo, which should be really fun at the end of the summer, getting us ready for the fall. So thank you so much, Stephanie. Appreciate you. Thank you, ladies, for being in here, and I will see you soon.
Thank you.